Gosh, what a wonderful evening! What a wonderful evening it is! What a wonderful, super duper, fantastic, special evening it is! It's still light outside. Still light outside, and it is 10 to 9. What a wonderful treat! Oh gosh, I live. Spring! Spring is the most wonderful time of the year. Oh gosh, I've started to sound a bit like Ken Dot there. What a tickle stick. Wish I had one of those. I'd give you all a lovely good tickling tonight. I would do. All four of you. Well, this evening, I'm not going to do any cooking because I can't be bothered. And, well, I did cooking last night, didn't I? And the trouble is, cooking means me being away from the chat thing. And every time I'm away from the chat thing, lots and lots of people start chatting away and wanting me to talk back to them, and I don't get a chance to do it. And last night, I felt like I ended up with a whole load of comments that I didn't even get around to replying to. I felt bad. I felt guilty. I felt like I should have been shot, but that didn't happen. Instead, I just dashed to the end. Dashed to the end because I wanted to get finished. I don't want to do 2 hours of a live stream. It's too long. I mean, I could do 3, but 2 hours, I feel a bit bad. And when everybody's going off to boaties as well, I think you need to have a break, don't you? You need a break. You can't just spend all evening watching people of various heights and hairiness chatting away to loads of nonsense right down in your ear until your brain fizzles away and burps out some unwelcome methane. So, this evening, instead, I'm going to just be nice and casual, have a cup of tea, put my reading glasses on, all that kind of thing, etc. And you never know, maybe some people will actually want to join in. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. So, should I try and read this standing up? Not a chance. Can't do it from there. Can I do it from there? Can I do it from there? That's why I end up sitting down, because it's just easier. Easier. Where's the best place? Best place to do it is sat down in front of the old fish tank, where if you get bored of me, you can just look at the fishy friends that I have. And I sit here and all pleased for me to go closer to the tank and the lobby, swimming around and having lots of happy fun. Incidentally, the 4 fish that I have in the tank at work, I've decided this weekend they're going to come and live in this one. I'll do away with having a tank at work because it's just another thing that I don't really have the space for. Well, the problem is things like changing the water, because what you'll need to do is change so much of the water, about 20% of the water every week. But of course, that means taking the water out. So I'm going to have to get other things to get the water out, stick it somewhere else, and have another container for putting the water back in. It sounds like it's not complicated at all. That's because it actually isn't. But it's not something I think about whilst I am at work. But you may question, well, what is it I do think about? Because it's difficult to see any thought process whatsoever. And that's the trouble, isn't it? Let's see who's here. Well, I was here earlier on, and then Name Me -1 says hi. Hello, Name Me -1. Good to have you here. Very good indeed. And Phantom is here as well. Welcome. And then the Greenwood. Hi, I am your friendly resident moderator. Recently woken from a late nap and a very lovely dream. Happy May Day and blessed Beltane to my fellow heathens. Beltane, blessed Beltane. Usual rules apply. Of course they do, which are no spam, no repeats, no politics. Don't be a dick to the other members. Thanks. And good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mustard. I hope everyone is well. I was almost late because I was looking for some funny questions. Well, let's see whether anybody manages this. Oh, what also? Will I forget that I actually requested that as well? That's a very good chance. A very good chance indeed. And name me -1 says, how long do you think you'd survive in a zombie apocalypse? Well, probably longer than them because they're already dead. So that means that I'm already 1 point up, and you know the worst that can happen is you become one of them. So I'd say 3 weeks. You've been on the same site as me. Ah, right, hang on. I see. Is the website for silly questions then? I mean, you've just kind of confirmed it, haven't you? I need to think of some silly questions. Has anybody got a list of them? Yes, I have. Oh, yes, indeed. Well, so this evening I wasn't even sure whether I was going to be able to do a live stream because obviously doing it from home can be a bit awkward. Just finding that moment, making sure it's all right and everything, and then I have, yes, I have. So that's one of the reasons why no cooking going on tonight, because I haven't got. I can hear a guitar being not played, but kind of messed with upstairs. 2 hours of nonsense means you pick up the later people who couldn't join in the start. Oh, well, that's true enough. That's true enough indeed. Charlotte Calliston is here. Charlotte Calliston. Hello, Charlotte. Good evening. Good afternoon. I mean, good evening, isn't it? Yes. Welcome here. Emma Lemon, hello Tracy and Mustard and everybody else. What seems to be happening at the moment, and I'm not sure what's going on, but there seems to be a lot more ladies joining my live stream than men. Why could that be? I don't mind. I really don't mind at all. Hi sis, yep. What secret conspiracy would you actually like to start letting other people know? Secret conspiracy. Well, I'd have to think of one that nobody knew about. And that would mean me knowing about it, but you not knowing about it. So, here goes. Right. You know the wood mahogany? It's actually a NASA-made special material. You'd think it was wood, but it's not. No, it's wood. It's a hard, dark wood that rich people like, and it is full of spy bugs. Yeah. But of course, the batteries run out after a while, and that's why they need so many in there. So each piece of mahogany, when one of the spy bugs that has all the information that just gets shot out into the internet, when the battery runs out after about 6 months, the next one takes over. And for a piece of mahogany about that long, there are approximately 42,000 spy bugs, all passing on information to the government. Which government? That's the bit that nobody knows. In fact, it's so secret, the government doesn't even realise it's receiving the information. So, who started this? I don't know. Maybe they haven't done yet. Oh, Dan Peters is here. Dan Peters. Oh, I hear a guitar being killed. Well, let's hope they don't kill another one. At least the one upstairs is their own. So if they break that one, then, you know, it's their own fault, isn't it? Evening, Captain Mustard. Hope you're well. I've obviously been flat out at work, close to 1,000 miles since Monday already. Gosh, that is quite a bit of a way, actually. What are you driving, Dan? I've forgotten. I've done, right, so you've done close to 1,000 miles since Monday. I've done about 12 today. So, catching you up, aren't I? Catching you up. The difference is, I've not been getting paid to do it, whereas I bet you have. And also, whereabouts have you been? Because I used to quite enjoy when I was doing lorry driving and on the roads. I'd like the distant stuff. I think it was really tiring, and unless you really did have a decent night's kip the night before, then of course you needed more than just a couple of naps in the afternoon to get you by, and that really does take up quite a bit of your time. Less dangerous, and in actual fact, the company will thank you for it when you don't have a crash, but they don't seem to like you doing it in the first place. That's the trouble. Do mermaids have babies, or do they lay eggs? Well, yeah, because I mean, obviously the mermaid, it can't really. Oh, here we go. Here's the first. Oh, wasn't particularly loud one, that was it. Well, where does a mermaid stop being a lady and then starts becoming a woman? And the question that many people also ask is, what would you prefer, a mermaid or a lady that has a bottom half a lady and the top half a fish? I think they must lay eggs. Yeah, they must do, mustn't they? Because the bottom part is where the eggs pop out of, and there's nowhere to enter anything else. So they must just simply fill the sea up with mermaid eggs and then wait for them to hatch and, have another party. I believe that's the correct answer. What does Google say? Istablu, the special. Istablu adds a special herb that makes you want another kebab as soon as you have eaten one. Oh, Istanbul, do you mean? Istanbul, I think it's what you mean. Have you ever been to Istanbul? I mean, because it's one of our favourite places down the Milkston Road. And in fact, I actually went there today. I went there today on a rare thing going on because of a special chap came up to see me. A special man indeed. The kind of chap you would never imagine having a kebab with. Can you guess who it was? Anyway, it adds a special herb that makes you want another kebab as soon as you have eaten one. And that is probably not giving you quite enough in the kebab in the first place, so you're not entirely full up. That'd be the best way of doing it. Ah, fantastic. Avin Ashit is here, and he says, all right, geezer. So who's the geezer? Probably me. And who's the Ashit? It's you, isn't it? What a fantastic name. And thanks for returning. Maybe you returned because I said that I liked your name yesterday, or maybe you've been here a while but with a different name. I do miss the people that come and spend quite a bit of time in live streams and say some really good and funny things and then never return. Being the kind of chap I am, I end up thinking, have I said something to upset them? And then I forget about it because I've got so many other things to think about. But that genuinely is always there in the back of my mind. If somebody's not returning, I do worry that maybe I've pissed them off. I have managed to find a Rover 600 in red with the reg KFC at the end. What a find. Well, if that's your initials, Dan, but DP is nothing like KFC, unless of course you're not really called Dan Peters, but you're actually called Kevin Freddie Coogan. That's what you call keeping a secret. Well done. Emma Lemons actually retracted a message, which is awful as well. I mean, it's not awful, but again, it just makes me worry. Just what did you say? What did you say that made you think, oh, I can't say that. I can't say that. That'll upset Mustard. It probably won't. But you never know, do you? Peter P is here. Hello, Peter P. And how to mermaids wee poo or receive and how to mermaids wee or poo or receive mermaids love truncheon. Well, now if mermaids I was going to say if mermaids existed, but obviously they do, then there must be mermen. Yeah? Merblokes. Mermen. I think it's mermen, isn't it? Mermaids? I don't know. But yeah, they must have some sort of truncheon involved. But of course,
being as that they've got a different set of tackle altogether, maybe the tackle just carries on being different. And you all know about fish they just change gender, don't they? Not all of them, but they are quite capable of doing it. A lot of them. So possibly the mermaid is both. And that's why you don't see merblokes. But if you did, then because the love truncheon itself would be well and truly hidden and you don't really know how it works, it could be known as a digital truncheon and therefore taking claim of Babyface Finlayson from the comic The Beano. And now, Charlotte Caniston, how did the legend of Robin Hood evolve over time in England? Did it serve as a form of social commentary, or was it simply a popular story about an outlaw hero? Wow. Now, I'm going to say it was probably just a story that somebody made up, but it could well and truly be based on something, an urban legend or somebody. Oh, did you hear about Robin Hood? No, who's he? Oh, is that guy? He's that guy. Do you know what he does? He robs from the rich, yeah, and he gives it to the poor. Oh, who does he give it to? Himself, because he's poor. But you could just expand upon that. Or maybe it was genuinely a proper real character, or maybe there were quite a few. I'm sure if one could do it, plenty could do it. But being as we know that the truth is definitely there for the opposite way round, of robbing from the poor to give to the rich, I reckon it probably was actually just an urban myth. Dan Peters says, I've been central London to Manchester, then Enfield to Huddersfield. Loads of shorter runs. Which bit's best? Depending on what you're driving. Central London, not very nice at all. Enfield's not exactly great. Manchester, not great to go in the centre of. Huddersfield, not great to go in the centre. Well, Huddersfield's not anywhere near as bad. But Sheffield, that's the one you want to watch out for. The one where they have sneaky little bus lanes everywhere that you can't spot. And if you're following a sat-nav, there's always going to be something that they've just suddenly changed just so they can crack some money out of you. Oh gosh, here we go, choking on my own tea. We're talking about Robin Hood. That's the kind of thing, isn't it? What are you driving, Dan Peters? And do you enjoy it? Does anybody actually enjoy driving into the centre of London? Because I have not done that for about 15 years, and I didn't particularly like it then. Emma Lemon says, how do fish in the depths of the sea light themselves up? Well, I think maybe either they've got some sort of in the depths of the sea, so they can't even be reflecting from the top. If we look in here, you can see that all the fishes are very, very reflecting. There are a couple of them called lamp eyes that have eyes that glow, but without the light in the first place, it doesn't really work. Same with the neon tetra. They don't glow unless they've got light from somewhere. So maybe they just need the tiniest amount of light. Maybe their bodies store light like a battery, and then they emit it whilst in the dark. Or the other rather less convincing answer could be that maybe they have a different set of physics to what we do because they live in the sea. Emma also says, is farting becoming Mustard's niche on this channel? Is that what's attracting the ladies? Well, that would certainly be very interesting to find out, wouldn't it? Whether, in actual fact, ladies pretend they don't like the manly pumps, but in fact they do. They love the smell of the manly methane gassy turd stop-offs. I'm not convinced though, so I don't think it is. Maybe in actual fact, if I stopped doing the pumps, maybe more ladies would come along. And the fact that you've mentioned that there, I imagine will make some of the ladies now go away and go, I'm not coming back here because that man keeps pumping. Emma, so mermaid's upper half is fishy. No, it's not, is it? It can't be. Right, so have we any evidence that mermaids exist? And I think the answer is probably not. But it'd be interesting to see, wouldn't it? Because then if they really did exist, then there'd be a skeleton popping up somewhere, wouldn't there? You imagine how strong the bottom half of a mermaid is, though, because you've got your lady, right? Okay, let's draw a picture of her. There's a head, there's a skinny arms, and there's a body, and it's always it's never a, for want of a better word, a fat mermaid. So then her body comes in there, the waist, and then there's great sort of big fishy bottom there, which is practically all muscle, isn't it? That's a very strong lady. Rob, do you ever play hide the sausage? No, not Rob, Rab. No, I don't, because I buy 8 sausages at a time, usually from Lidl, and I'll cook all 8 of them. I don't need to hide them because usually nobody wants to eat them except for me. So I would gain nothing from it. The only person that would lose that sausage would be me. And I'd end up thinking, God, I wish I hadn't gone and hidden that sausage. It was too good a hiding place. And now I'm hungry and now there's nothing I can do about it. Silly me, I'm going to have to go back to the shop. Do mermaids smell of fish? Asks Lemon. Well, the answer to that is no, not unless they're dead. Just like real fish. Real fish don't smell fishy, but when you pull them out of the water and they stop being alive, within a bit of time they start to smell fishy. Isn't it strange that fish, the smell of fish, isn't the smell of fish? It's the smell of decomposing fish. So yeah, they can't do, really. My question is, cod and chips or haddock and chips with or without curry sauce? But that's not a serious question, is it? Because that's a matter of opinion. Cod or haddock? I don't really care. If I'm hungry, I'm not going to say, no, I'm not going to eat that haddock because I want cod. You'd just have the haddock, wouldn't you? They don't taste too much different to one another to really complain about. Or with or without curry sauce. Curry doesn't really go with fish, does it? But you have curry sauce because you don't want peas. That's really the only reason. And now I fancy it. 10mm socket, yes. Oh yes, of course you said that. I guess having Ashit, you probably thought too many other people have got names like 10mm socket, so nah, best to think of something different. Mermaid with chips and curry sauce. Oh. I went out for lunch yesterday with Senior Mustard, and he said on the way that the old phrase, "God, I'm starving, I could eat a scabby horse." A scabby horse? You go into the shop and you say, "Don't suppose you're going to eat scabby horses, have you? I'm really hungry today." No, I don't want any proper food. I want a scabby horse. Dan Peters, I can honestly say I haven't had a kebab since I was about 20, over 10 years ago. Well, kebabs have changed a bit since then. There was a time when your kebab just came in a pit of red and it was just that kind of brown meat that flexed everywhere, and once it gone cold it go brittle, and then some kind of salad that wasn't really salad but used to belong to a vegetable. And you'd eat it and it was okay whilst it was hot, but the moment it cooled down it stunk of carrion. They're not like that anymore. Battered mermaid or crispy mermaid? We're not going to leave this mermaid thing alone, are we? We all want to know about mermaids. Well, I reckon probably I wouldn't eat them. Right, then my assumption is that a mermaid would be like a human-sized lady, yeah? Or if indeed they do just change sex as they go along, a man, and that would be far too much, And as I see it, a mermaid is a lady, and you shouldn't batter ladies. That is not on at all. And there would be too much, wouldn't they? Honey bun. Why do you look like someone I seen? Well, that's a good question that only you can answer. I'll give you a clue. It's probably because I look like somebody that you've seen before, but I don't know who that is, and presumably you don't either. But that would be it. Either it can't really be anything else, can it? So you're going to have to figure that one out. So do come back and give me the answer as soon as you can, honey bun, because I want to know myself now. And Steve W, formerly known as Black Lines, Emma Lemon, I used to go out with one, as she kept asking to see my muscles. As you can see, I'm nearly at the end of my cup of tea, and that can only mean one thing. I'm going to have to make another one. Dan Peters, you are a great natural presenter, Captain Mustard. Well, that's very nice of you to say. And then following that with some laughing things. Now, you could be laughing at your own observation, which means it could be a sarcastic observation, and you're laughing at the fact that you've said something that's completely nonsense, and everybody else might be thinking, is he? I don't think he is. Oh, you're going to end up with him thinking he's good at this job when in fact he isn't. Or you might be laughing at something I've said. And that's the nature of this. How will I ever know? But in case you mean it sincerely, thank you. And if you didn't mean it sincerely, I'll try harder. I generally retract message if I make spelling mistakes, says Emma. And do you know what? I can definitely understand that. Because you think that other people are going to go, she can't even spell consequences, or whatever else it might be that you didn't spell correctly. And in actual fact, nobody really does, do they? They probably wouldn't even notice. But I'd feel the same way as well. I would do. But so anyway, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Retracting messages are usually massive typos that make us look daft, says the Greenwood Soul. You two, both ladies that can string a sentence together, and we all know that. So the moment that you don't do it quite correctly, you're rather self-conscious of it, of all the people that wouldn't even notice. Curious, or maybe think I'd notice. Do you really reckon? I don't think I would. I reckon I'd probably skip half the words anyway without even knowing about it. Dan Peters says the Rover 600 is just sat there in Luton. I've often thought they will sell it and it could be fixed and recommissioned like any car. I guess. So, is it one of those where you're going to have to go and knock on the door, or is it somebody that you deliver to, or is it somebody that you know, or is it somebody that says they'll never sell it because they like seeing it rotting away on the driveway? Oh, so mermaids are like snails, hermaphrodites. Babyface Finlayson, rot, says Carl Burton. Now, that sort of joke there, I knew that there'd be enough people old enough to actually knew what I was talking about. And the fact is that if there wasn't, it wouldn't really have mattered because it was only just a small observation. But one of the funniest things I ever saw in a comic was exactly that. Babyface Finlayson with a digital truncheon. I don't know if you find this at all, but there are little things that you remember from the past that every time you think of them, they still amuse you. And that, to me, is just one of those. If you had a budget of, say, £20 takeaway, what would you buy and why and where? That's a good question. Because my next question now is the takeaway just for me? Or do I have to share it with somebody else? It's £20 quite a lot. I mean, it is here. For £5 or £6 or something, you can actually get something that will fill you up. So the chippy nearby, you can have fish and chips and peas, a small portion for about £4.50, which the small portion bit might accurately tell you that it's not going to be quite enough. But then you go for medium chips and a proper sized fish, and the fish is like, I can't go far enough back, about that long. And you couldn't possibly eat it all unless you had a stomach that was swollen up like an inflated balloon. And some people do, I suppose. And that's probably still only going to be about £7. So that might encourage you to go for something a bit more upmarket. Yeah. And upmarket curry, I guess the best way to spend £20 on a single takeaway just for yourself that doesn't fill you up that much, so you can still walk, would be to have a Chinese, because they always seem to be horrendously expensive. But yeah, they do, don't they? Does anybody else think that? I don't really do Chinese very often because of exactly that, and I really want to do. And I really want to start making Chinese curry, but I don't even know where to start. So I'm going to have to start thinking about it, so I don't have to go and buy some. Unless that right. Now imagine this as a challenge idea for this channel, right? So you have a set budget for every live stream, or like say you could have takeaway Monday, takeaway Thursday, what have you, and I go and buy a takeaway, but it's got to be a different one every time, and then I could review it like a beer review, couldn't I? So you wouldn't see me actually cooking anything because I wouldn't need to, but you would see me troughing away and not being able to speak properly because I had a fizzog full of nosh. Is tomato ketchup just a smoothie? What do you think? I think tomato ketchup is just, well, horrible. Except on a burger. Then it's reasonably acceptable. You could call it a smoothie, except that nobody in their right mind would have any more than just, that tiny bit of it on something that actually was more like food. And excuse me, excuse me, you want to make a coffee, make a cup of coffee, excuse me, you want to make a cup of coffee, make a cup of coffee. Did anybody guess who came down to the yard? To have a takeaway room, the kind of man that wouldn't eat a kebab, or you wouldn't think would. Give myself a little problem here because now I am starting to feel peckish, but I don't want this live stream to turn into a cooking one tonight because, actually I've still got a lot of chilli left. I made chilli last night in the live stream, and you know what? Do you want to know how good it was? It was excellent. I mean, it was really excellent indeed. Oh, put a spoon in there. Don't want it in there. You are supposed to stir it up somewhat, aren't you? Otherwise you end up with floating bits of coffee stuff. Oh, there we go. Messaging again. Oh, last night, I got a bit distracted by a whole load of messages that all came in all at once. And you know what it was? My rover group, the Rover and British Marks, I have a little mod group, a little for the mods, a chat group, originally set up so that we can all be the people in charge of the group, actually discuss things and sometimes say, what should we do about this person, etc. And that's exactly what went on. Somebody got accused of spamming for showing their own car off. It's like being at nursery sometimes. So let's see, where are we up to? Now I'm making me think about ketchup again. Oh, right, so they should make ketchup with vodka in it. They should, Emma. Or you could, but you wouldn't have it anyway, would you? Because you're teetotal. What a strange idea from somebody who would not go anywhere near it. Ghastly stuff is ketchup, says having a shit. I'm just going to start calling you that now. Rather than having a shit, which is what that actually says, having a shit. That would be a Bloody Mary, or rather a Mary. That would be a Mary Bloody rather than right. Yes. Okay. Indeed. Dan Peters. Hello, Dan Peters. Still here, are we? Good man. The best one of the week is, I can confirm, to be the collection and delivery of the TV show Grand Design Live, based in London, Excel. My current works vehicle is an Avico extra long wheelbase. An Avico, is it a 3.5 tonner, or is it one where you have to carry a bit more weight and therefore have to have the dreaded digital tacho installed? Designed, of course, all this thing to make working a safer place to be, so you don't exceed your hours. And then, of course, you end up doing anyway, but you do it on the sly. And your company tells you you're not allowed to do this, but do it anyway. Just make sure you take the rap for it. And, we're not going to give you anything extra, by the way. That's how it goes. But then again, it might not be for you. Having a shit. Why, when in public, is it acceptable to say you pricked your finger, but you can't say you fingered your prick? Well. I mean, let's think about this, because they do mean different things. Like all things, like all sentences, you just have to swap one word for another, swap it around. It does mean something completely different. Come on, having a shit, have a sit down and have a think about it. You'll be able to figure this one out, I'm sure. Dan Peters says, it's a custom-made one, easy to move, 6.5 meter lengths of steel with ease. 6.5 meter is quite big, isn't it? Now, I would have loved something that kind of length when I had my recovery truck, because I kept seeing how long trailers were, but recovery trucks, the beds only ever seem to be about 14 foot long, and 14 foot is the length of a not particularly big car. So you see all of these recovery trucks knocking about, even worse, the beaver tails. That's like when you got a bed like that and it goes down like that at the back, so that when you put the ramps on, it's not so steep. And the back end of the car hanging over. I used to have that an awful lot. But even on a 13.5 foot or 14 foot bed, something like a big car, like a Rover 75, would still go on. But the back wheel would be right at the edge of the bed, and then you'd have this great hangover of about 2 foot, what looks like it would be covering up the number plate and just effectively swinging a lot of extra weight in the wrong place. And as I've gone off on a bit of a tangent there, thinking it would have been lovely to have the bed at about 5 meters long, so you could comfortably get something on there, and then space for a hamper. Old Greg was real, wasn't he? Old Greg, are we talking about old Greg from the Mighty Boosh? And if that's the case, then yeah, he definitely was. Also, the roof detachable for items to be craned off. Oh, that's yeah, that is quite cool. I reckon it sounds like you quite like your job, actually. Marcus is here, and you're very lucky, Marcus, that I remember that that's your name, because you just are. You just are. I think you've done well for me to remember who you really are. Hi everyone. Just wanted to say hi and have a great day to you, Mustard. And that concludes the contribution there. So thank you very much, and don't forget to like the live stream, even though you're not going to watch it. Thank you. Hi, Louise. All right, so Dan Peters, what is the best chippy you have been to in terms of price and quality and portion size? Now, Dan Peters, it sounds like you would quite like to take advantage of my Google reviews, which don't really give you any information. But the chippy that's nearby to me is actually very good value. Uh, uh, it is. It is. You go. Any of the other chippies that are about are quite a bit more expensive, or they certainly used to be. And if you go up somewhere like where the lake is, it's a lot more expensive because a lake or is kind of like the seaside, isn't it? But inland. So you get visitors, you get tourists, and provided you have tourists, you charge a lot of money for things that don't cost anymore. But then again, also with that, things like rent for premises would also go up as well. So maybe it's fair game. If you're going to come and visit here, you're going to have to pay for it. So I would say the chippy in Milne Road called David's is probably the best all-round chippy I have been to. Make sure you go there and tell him that's what I said. Thank you. Don't suppose you've been up this way, though, have you? The pilot in Dungeness, Kent. Dungeness. Right. So, if two vegans got into an argument, would it still be considered a beef? No, it wouldn't, because you'd only need one vegan for that. To have to have a beef with somebody doesn't involve any meat at all, does it? And you can have a beef with someone without them even knowing about it. And that's why the popular phrase, I've got a bone to pick with you, come about, isn't it? Because the beef is on the bone, and that does actually sound a bit like I've got a bone to pick with you. It sounds like, are you hungry? Let's eat some meat. Hello, vegan friend. Let's chow down. Oh, I hate that phrase. Let's tuck in some lovely meaty goodness together, and we'll have a conversation about something that we disagree on. Yeah. What is it? I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Bones must be picked before you can actually get into that. Dan Peters says, what's the thing that some people will not... Oh, hang on. That's the thing. Some people will not sell cars. They will just leave them. And I know of an Escort RS Turbo, and the car just won't sell or use it either. The car, and it won't just sell or use it either. Well, the trouble is, people can have things, and they are entirely entitled to do nothing with them. If you own a house, you don't have to live in it. You don't have to let anybody else live in it. If you own a car, you don't have to drive it, and you don't have to sell it. But it's just frustrating, isn't it? That's the thing. Because somebody's got something there, and you're thinking, you're not using it, why can't I use it? And the answer being, because it's not yours, isn't quite good enough, is it? So perhaps you should go and knock on the door and say, look, mate, I've seen that you're not using your car. Can I have it? And if he says, no, then you say, well, I'll use it. And he'll say, yeah, but it's mine. And then you just say, well, I don't want to steal it or anything, but it could happen. I wasn't joking. A beautiful fresh fish and a massive portion. Jack Lynch is here. Hello again. How are you today? And the answer is, I'm okay. I've got a sore arm because I got my arm hit quite badly before, and it hurt in a rather massive and unexpected way. But that's not very exciting, so I won't elaborate. Aldi pork sausages are a lot better than Lidl, says Jimmy Quinn. Do you know what? I always kind of get the impression that they're the same thing. So there we go. I mean, that's one of those things what you do. People like a comparison, don't they? If I did a video that was like, which is best, Aldi or Lidl for these sausages? Somebody want to watch that, wouldn't they? But then they might think, well, that's just your opinion, and I don't really agree with you on anything else, so I'm going to go for the other one. And you can sway people into taking the opposite to what you recommend just by being unpopular with them. I remember you, says Jack Lynch. Well, that's good, and I think I remember you too. Wow, £4.50 for fish and chips is excellent. I'm used to London prices at £12 or £15. I certainly won't be having many takeaways if I was there. So that is the price for fish and chips. Is that also the same kind of price that you'd pay for a kebab or a takeaway curry? Now, where I like to go for curries is down the Istanbul, down Milkston Road, it's in the sort of Rochdale's curry quarter of a mile, you could say, and it's all rather authentic. Anywhere where you see people eating their own food is authentic, isn't it? Whereas you come out and you go a bit further away, suddenly the prices go completely different. Now, I did this last night and made chili, and I had lovely sore eyes for quite a while. There's a place called the International Chippy, and now I want some samosas, but they do samosas that are like sort of like that. Yeah, about that big. And you can have 8 of those, 8 with 2 pots of sauce for, I think, £5.60 or £5.20. £5.20. Now that, you could not really eat 8 of them because they are too big. But I've managed, say, 4 and then possibly even 5. And then I've eaten too much. Whereas up the road, further up the road, Todmorden, which isn't a million miles away from Rochdale, I had an emergency couple of samosas from one of their places there, and it was 2 samosas that are about that big, okay? £3.20. And you eat them both, and you think, oh, I really need some more of those. So you have 4, you could have 8. Seriously, you could have 8 of them. And so that, if those were really, really special, that £20 that you're suggesting for a takeaway, you'd need that for those samosas. But because it's just small samosas, I think you'd want a bit more variety, and you'd get fed up with it as well. Jimmy says Greenwood, because Jimmy's here, and we all need to know. Well, we don't. Wait, what's Greenwood? Hi, Greenwood. Wait, what's Greenwood? Yes, I am the Greenwood. You ask, what's Greenwood? Yes, but what is that? I'm sure that. Yeah, I thought you might have answered it. Captain Mustard, I'm happy to pay for you to get a takeaway to review on the chat. Oh, there we go. That's kind of like a that could be the start of the promotions on this video. What a fantastic idea! Gosh, I'm happy to pay for a takeaway for you to review on the channel later in the week. Would be excellent. Well, okay, if you want to do that, I will. In fact, if you wanted, you could even make a suggestion on the kind of thing you would like to see me eat, and then I would just do that, because otherwise I might not be particularly adventurous with it. Oh, no beer. Well, I have got. Gosh, I'm thinking about it now. Well, I say, I don't think about beer, and then somebody says beer, and then I am thinking about it. The easiest way to not think about beer is not to mention it. You mention it, then I want it, don't I? Jimmy Quinn. Naughty Jimmy Quinn. I'm going to put that beer in the freezer now, aren't I? In a minute. Let's see. Let's see if I can get to the end of the comments. Or maybe there's absolutely no chance. I don't know. Who was it yesterday? Well, Wendy Miller was in, and somebody came in and said that I was taking too long to read through the comments. And Wendy Miller basically stood up for me and said, "No, we like it this way," or something. Rover Joe is here. Hello, Rover Joe. Rover Joe would guess. Link Reflex. Yo, how you doing? Remember me? Maybe I do. Yeah. You can buy ketchup with vodka in it. When is the most embarrassing or inappropriate place you've ever farted? Asks the Greenwood. My mother let a loud one out at the graveside of her sister-in-law. Now, I knew you was going to say something like that. It does make me think to a time when my brother and I were talking about doing things like most inappropriate places, and we was talking about how we could make videos of doing these things. And one of them in particular was the 10 most inappropriate places to have a kebab. And one of them was actually, at a funeral. Or 10 most inappropriate places to erect your pop-up tent. And I think we decided the most inappropriate, or the one where you get the most of a kicking, would be during a football match. One of the local football matches, and you just take your tent, just stride onto the pitch there and just fling it on the floor, just pop up and then just climb straight inside. Be funny, be good for a video. And in actual fact, if I'd have done that all those years back, then maybe I'd have had a proper viral video where I did get slightly beaten up. Remember me from the last live when you've been doing the curry? Yeah, I think I do actually. Yeah, I think I do. But quite a few people come and go with this, and I don't always remember absolutely everyone. But anyway, welcome back. Welcome back indeed. Sorry, Captain Mustard. My internet completely just missed about 2 minutes of the live stream. Well, the only thing is I don't know which 2 minutes of those were. So you could have missed something important, or you could have missed something that really wasn't important and you wish you hadn't seen. And hopefully it's that one. Yeah, I enjoy my job. My boss forgot his lunch today, so I gave him mine. And he didn't complain, because I'm like that. That is very kind of you, actually. Very kind indeed. So you went hungry. You went hungry because somebody else was clumsy. That's very, very generous indeed. Charlotte says, fancy a shot of croquet or perhaps a go at polo. Personally, I find the latter more exhilarating. Wouldn't you agree? Well, it would definitely be for me. Yeah, I would definitely find that kind of thing exhilarating, because I've never ridden a horse. Can you play polo without being on a horse? I don't think you can. Or maybe there's a special no horse polo, which is a NHP is the abbreviation for it, but I've not heard of that so far, so maybe I've just made it up. And now Simone is here, also known as Hooked on Classics. Hello, that is your left hand waving, isn't it? Yeah. Are you left-handed? Because you're using your left hand to wave. Whoa, a decent curry takeaway for 4. All right, I see. A decent curry takeaway for 4 people, you're looking at 50 or 60 quid. Now, that's the kind of price I'd expect that you might have to pay in a restaurant where you're allowed to sit down and possibly have a couple of beers with it as well. 50 or 60 pounds. Yeah, it's quite a lot, isn't it? Local to me is a takeaway, and when I go by there, that smell of the onions cooking that I've only really sort of recently discovered that the takeaway onion smell is it happens through onions not just cooking but cooking all day. They do some quite good curries there actually. Somebody's saying somebody's just sent me a message that says 300 and I've got no idea what that means. It's probably somebody bunging in a really unbelievably cheeky offer on the Land Rover that I put up for sale. And rather than saying, oh, excuse me, how are you? I'd quite like to buy this car, but I haven't got enough money. I know it's cheeky, but would you take a bit less? No, they don't do that. They just go, bung a number at you and think that that's not rude. Well, it is rude, whoever you are. And I know you're not watching, but yeah, I find that very rude. So no is the answer. Somebody tell them that. Oh Lord, I feel like I'm in class again with this guy. Is that because of my glasses or because I'm lecturing? 8 samosas for £5.20. Good Lord, £5 here gets you 2 samosas. Well, that means that you're in the wrong part of the country. Now, I think that one of the reasons why the food down Milkston Road is so cheap is because they are feeding each other. So they don't want to charge much. And they're honest enough to not give a different price for these white people that wander in there that, they could say, well, you're not part of the community, so we're going to charge you more. So there isn't any of that going on. But it is a really densely populated Asian area. And the parking is horrific, but the food is brilliant. Sujuk. Make some samosas at home. It's like the answer's simple. Don't go buy them, just make them. But the trouble is when you want really good, authentic Indian or otherwise food, it's actually not even any cheaper to make it yourself. You do it because of the pleasure of cooking or discovering how something's made. And so far, I haven't done samosas. So perhaps you're right, yeah, perhaps. But it should be one of those things, I'll find out how you do them exactly and a bit of trial and error, and I might be able to do some good ones. And I have a request this weekend to do some dough to make pizza with, but you've seen me do pizza so often. So maybe I should do something else with some of that dough as well. Oh, and hi, yeah. Would you do Iceland Ghost Chili Chicken Strips and Spicy Curry Challenge like Fall Curry? Yeah, I would. Iceland Ghost Chili. Iceland isn't somewhere that I ever really go to. I associate Iceland with really low quality food. That's the trouble. Maybe they've got some good stuff there now these days. Again, I will pay for the challenges. I'm happy to support and help the channel. That's so. Dan Peters, what a good chap you are. That is fantastic. I tell you what, I'd be more likely to do if somebody said to me, right, this is what I want you to do. Here's the money. Go and do it and make a video with it. Then that's kind of right, isn't it? It's a bit like some of the slight sponsorship type things I've had on the other channel with things being sent to me. We'll send you this item, but please make a video of it. Okay, I will. My local fish and chip shop says Jimmy Quinn, 2 large haddock and 1 large chips, £18.50. Yeah, it's quite a lot, isn't it? When I ask to see the fish, asks Link Reflex. Well, those fish there, the trouble is, many people ask to see them. Yeah, many people. In fact, quite often, anybody new coming in, that's usually the first thing they say. They don't want to listen to what I'm talking about. They don't want to ask a question. It's just like, can I see those fish? Well, there you go. You guys are more popular than me. And that's why I did actually do a fishy live stream one night. And it wasn't that popular, but yeah, it wasn't really any great effort for me. How are you, Mustard, says Rover Joe, and I'm super duper. Super duper. some singing going upstairs. Just giving my eyes a little rest for the moment. Well, as nobody guessed, I was quite surprised by this. Mr. Joseph Lloyd came to the yard today, and he drove Nigel. So a review of the car called Nigel will be going onto his channel, and it would be quite nice to get as many YouTubers as possible to drive that car. I think to see just some different opinions of it. And guess what? Yeah, he liked it. He liked it quite a lot. If your fish could speak, what would they tell us? Asks Greenwood. Well, they'd tell you to feed them, because that's the only thing they're interested in. Now, this is quite cruel, but if I popped up there and grabbed hold of the fishy food and just put it there, they'd go, oh, food, even though they've only just been fed, because they're greedy. And that's the only thing they really think about. They don't think about anything interesting. They're not interested in architecture. There's 2 castles there, and all they want to do is just go and swim through them. They don't admire them and think, God, this Castle Benny's much more interesting than Castle. I can't remember what that was called. We did actually give all of these areas in the fish tank names. So I think that one over there is Castle Benny, and then we have the ice rock thing, and then I gave a name for this one, and then with the Agatha Rock, and then Banana Gardens there. So there. I'm getting indigestion now. No horse polo is known as golf. Okay. No horse polo is known as golf. Cat's meow. What's the difference between a tyre and 365 used condoms? Hang on. One's a good year, the other's a great year. Yes. Well done. More jokes, please. More jokes. I do like to have jokes. My local Chinese for me and my wife, £32. So it's going up, isn't it? What's the most expensive takeaway do you think you can have that isn't somebody just taking the piss? You know, a genuine price for a meal that isn't something ridiculous that you can't even eat. A takeaway for 1, 2, or 4, but it's something you can take home, you can eat it, and then think, that was rather nice. Yes, it was rather nice, wasn't it? Is there any left? No, we've eaten it all. Yeah, how much was it again? Jimmy, your dog profile is so adorable, says Sue Duke. What sort of dog is that? Is it your dog, Jimmy? Cat's meow. What do you think when you mix LSD and birth cake? What do you get when you mix LSD and birth control? A trip without kids. Have you ever heard of elephant polo? Oh, yes, I have actually. Yeah, I have. My dog is a Siberian Husky with an American Collie. Excellent guard dog. Lexi says hello. Hello, Lexi. Oh, this is a new name, I think, is it? Or is it Chuck Nutley? Chuck Nutley. Excellent guard dog. Have you ever taught him to be afraid of the sound of tasers and electric lighters? Have you ever taught him not to be afraid of the sound of tasers and electric lighters? The phone looks like it's going to drop off of there. My local kebab shop is a family feast for £30. But can you eat it all, though? And how big a family do you need to eat it all? Because that's important. Is Nigel an attractive lad? Well, that's rather down to your opinion, isn't it? Some say yes, some are rather bemused by the thing. Matt finished photography. Hi, Mustard, what are we cooking? Or what are you cooking, rather? Well, the answer is nothing, because last night I did cooking, and tonight, I got my chili that I could just eat later on, whilst possibly doing a little bit of video editing, and it was exceedingly good. Now, who remembers what I did last night? Cooked a chili, put plenty of chilies in there, put plenty of chili powder, put some bit of cinnamon, put a bit of cumin, put a bit of cocoa powder, and a little bit of mango chutney, and it was, I think, the best chili I'd ever made. Guten Tag, says Germany. Have you ever considered growing your hair down to the end of your back? No, I haven't. And I don't consider it. Doesn't. I've said this before, but I don't grow it. It just grows itself. Nobody grows their hair. Well, I mean, you do grow your hair, but it grows anyway. You have no choice about it. Your choice is whether you cut it or not. And some people don't like having their hair cut, like me. And honestly, I don't. Come near me with a pair of scissors, you'd think you'd come near me with a sharp object that you could do some damage with. I have an Indian takeaway, about £50. If I have an Indian takeaway, about £50. What do you get for £50? Blimey. Why do women wear panties with flowers on them? In loving memory of all the faces that have been buried there. I like that one. Thank you for tonight's live, Captain Mustard, says Dan Peters. Sorry, I have to leave as I have to be up early, and I don't. But I very much enjoy the live. Thanks. Take care. Thank you very much, Dan, and have a good day at work tomorrow. Charlotte says, are these prices for the UK? It seems that I've been getting scammed a lot, paying double what I usually do. Probably even worse if you use some sort of delivery company as well. Paying double. AI says, hello. My dog is like me, not scared of nobody, says Jimmy Quinn. Nobody. That's what Jimmy Quinn says. Good. Night. Chili today. Hot tomato. Hot tomato. A Scottish man and an Englishman and a German man are stuck in a desert, says Germany. A genie comes out and says, I'll grant each of you one wish. The Scottish man says, I'd want to be rich. And it comes true. And the Englishman say, carry on. Says, I want to see my family. And it comes true. And the German man says, I want my friends back here. Yeah. Now I didn't know that there was that kind of thing with Germany as well, because in Britain we do them as Irish jokes, Englishmen, Scottishmen, and Irishmen. And the thing is, I don't know whether the Irish ever take offence to this, but Irishman jokes are still knocking about quite a bit. Can we see your fish? Yes, you can. I'm not going to be moving too much out of the way. So I'll tell you what, as you've asked, I will try and do this a bit more. What's the strangest thing that a guest has ever done when visiting your home? Honestly, I can't think of anything that strange that anyone's done whilst visiting my home. And if it is strange, then maybe I didn't even know about it. But have you had an experience of something like that? I mean, I must say I did once. I did something a bit strange whilst visiting somebody else's home. I woke up in the middle of the night and I went into it was this girlfriend I had. I ended up in her parents' bedroom. I just walked in. I walked in because I just got lost as where I was. I got confused. And I don't know how confused they were, but they didn't wake up, or at least they didn't appear to do. Oh. If I was addicted to masturbation and then became addicted to sex, would it be would it safe to say my addiction got out of hand? AI, me, YouTube, comment, you're okay. Thanks for reacting. It was quite a good joke, I suppose. Have I ever heard it before? I have heard that one before. Wishing you all a delightful evening and a restful night, says Charlotte. So presumably Charlotte's going, and good night to you. And I will be going in half an hour. Cat's meow. A husband says to his wife, Why don't you tell me when you orgasm?" She replies, "I don't like calling while you're at work." Oh right, I've almost caught up with comments here. Laughing at you end up in the parents' bedroom. Yeah, not only that. Yeah, I don't like to sleep with clothes on. I'm not a pajama kind of person at all. I never have been. I've been in a plane crash. Yesterday going to Spain. What an unusual situation that is. John, grooming gangs in Rochdale. Talk to me. Well, I know all about that, but I don't know any of them that do it. I just know of it. Mustard, I'm glad you like those jokes. I do. I love jokes. I do very much love jokes. And I mean, actually, to be honest, I don't ever really find jokes offensive, even if they are properly a bit naughty, because they are just jokes. And they are one of those things where we can disagree on, and some things you shouldn't joke about, and some things that, you just simply is just a joke. But I suppose there may be certain jokes or certain people that like to joke about things that you shouldn't joke about because you shouldn't joke about it, and that's really it, which is very different from finding it funny because it is just a joke. You talked me into it. Now then, here is a beer. I'd quite like to know right now, if you could, how many of these people in this live stream, of which there are only 17 at the moment, are familiar with the car known as Toby Charles? Ooh. I bet nobody answers that. I am actually quite impressed that tonight I've been reading through all the comments. Oh, do you know what I didn't do? What I haven't done tonight? Is press live chat. After all this time, I've just remembered now. Let's go. Oh, right. Your Spain almost died. So did you had a genuine crash, a plane crash? Right. Cat's meow. Mustard, are you skilled at arm wrestling? I do seem to be a bit. When I was at school, at school is where you do arm wrestles, isn't it? You know, for some reason, it's just what boys do. They like to know who's in charge, and the best way of knowing who the best person is for any particular thing is to find out who wins the arm wrestle. And for some reason, it was always me. I used to always be very good at arm wrestles, and I don't know why, because my arms have never been chunky. But I used to beat people at arm wrestles who had much bigger arms than I did, and I never really understood why. Steve Kulg is here. Hello, Steve Kulg. Flabber Jabber, are goatees overrated? Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. I mean, if anybody thinks that a goatee, as the beard, makes you cool or makes you more interesting, or without it, you're just not really worthwhile talking to any longer, then they definitely are overrated. Other than that, they're just facial hair, and you shouldn't take them too seriously. Hey, what? Really? Steve W says, or asks even, why didn't Sally play the swings? Because she had no arms. Why didn't Sally play on the swings? Knock, knock. Who's there? Not Sally. Who's Sally? Steve Hulk, why did you do that? What did Steve Hulk do? What did Steve Hulk? Has Steve Hulk done anything naughty? I haven't seen it. I haven't seen. Germany must get his story from Boaty. Oh, right, I see. You're happy, says AI. I try to be. Greenwood says, my ex walked out of my flat naked, sleepwalking after a drink, looking for the loot, willy in hand. Had to chase after him down the corridor, also naked. I didn't latch on. I didn't put the latch on the door. Oh, what do you mean you got locked out? Toby the Torah, says Peter. Yes, that's the one. That's the one. Let's come to that in a second. It haunts me to this day that would have happened if we'd both been locked out at 3 a.m. There's so many things in life that end up as being just lucky escapes, though, aren't there? Where they just, it could have very easily just gone the other way. I might have to pop upstairs in a second to go and say goodnight to the little people. Mustard, you've not missed out as far as I could see. Oh, what with the all chat thing? Yeah, it's not been as busy, has it? It really hasn't. He's waving. Right, yes, I see. Yes. SpongeBob is here. SpongeBob. Good. Oh. Are we all going into German now? Not Sally, just a joke. Inch bin bad? Bad or to bet. Majid Motagi. Hi, hello. And shut up for some reason. Almost locked out. Happened 30 years ago. I still have fears from it. Tyler Kennedy has been assassinated, according to Steve Kulk. And that news is quite possibly the only explanation. Either that, or if you remember, he had a day off these live streams because he dropped his phone into the canal. Now, what's stopping him from doing exactly the same thing again? Nothing. The reason it happened in the first place was probably he was drunk off of his JD and Coke, whilst flinging his phone around trying to copy somebody doing a live stream whilst drunk, and just went a bit overboard. Once it's in the canal, there's no going back. Mobile phones do not survive being in the canal because you can't retrieve them, not very easily.
Stop it, please.
And sounds like somebody's bickering. I'll have to go and have a look. So, back in a sec.
She's lost one of the stones that she's collected that she gave names to. She's lost one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, will you tell her it's not down here?
Right.
bit.
I often find myself wondering how many people turn up at this live stream, just see a kitchen and a little bit of fish tank and think, what's all this about? Oh dear. Rearrange his cupboards. Oh, okay, right, let's get to that there then. Hi mate, says Mercury89. Hello, hi mate, Mercury number 9. Let me tell you about my plane crash story, says Germany. Yeah, please do. Can we speak in English, please? Otherwise, we still have to presume people are being a dick to our lovely German person. Oh, okay. That's true. Yeah. And rearrange the cupboards. And let's. How would you manage to do that? Look at all this chat that you managed to do whilst I went upstairs. Quite astonishing. Jimmy Quinn says, my mate was drunk, got out of bed, walked into his wife's wardrobe and did a shit in his wife's hat box. This is how features end up in live streams, isn't it? By just talking about, well, what was it? Started off with Trace asking what was the weirdest guest thing, and that, so I couldn't think of one, but I could think of something strange I did in somebody else's house. I bet that's not the only thing as well, actually. Anyway, I'd love some more stories like that. That'd be fantastic. But that'd be a great way for this particular live stream to carry on going, wouldn't it? If you've got some more like that. And just trying to remember whether there was another one. No, I don't think there was, actually. I don't think there was. I wonder if that some people they get invited round, they will just basically. I thought about this at Boaties because he said that he's really anal about where things are, and I can get that. And being as that he lives alone as well, you're more likely to have things just in their place. And I know many people that won't have, they open up the cupboards. If you've got, say, cans of beans and tomatoes and things like that, they're all facing outwards, and everything's got to be in a particular way. And even though you can tell what it is, it's got to have a label on the front. And I did think when the first time I went to Boaties that what I was going to do is just mess around with a few things, just change the order of some things in his house while he wasn't looking. But I didn't do, because I haven't got that kind of cruel streak in me that I was hoping I would have. Let's see if that beer is cold enough. It's not, but I wanted to drink it anyway. That's better. Now, there are quite a few comments from Germany, so I should read them out. And that is, it was the Lufthansa plane company, and the next thing I knew, the oxygen mask started to drop. I didn't know what was happening. And then we crashed into the ocean and everything went black. It was a it was a engine fault, engine failure or oxygen decompression. Well, you couldn't be very high up then, I guess, if you if you managed to crash into the sea and everybody got out. Can you swim? Yes, you can swim. I thought you could. Right. Yeah. Yeah, right. So that's quite an unusual story, that one, Germany. So the plane crashed onto the sea. Presumably, either it fell apart or the doors opened. But did it just sort of come down an angle like that and just sort of bounce off a bit, and the plane was going to be wrecked, but the pilot managed to control it and didn't sort of do a nosedive into the sea, because obviously that would have happened, then it would have been just a complete disaster, wouldn't it? Anyway, Steve W says, I've had some seedy fence rocks I woke up to some seedy fence rocks at the seaside when I was younger. Absolutely freezing my balls off with a 3-mile walk home with a hangover. Now we're talking, aren't we? Yeah, now we're talking. Another example of things that we could actually mention in our lives. And what's the most unusual place you've slept? Because I can tell you what mine is, and it is in a subway. I went to Halifax one night with some friends, and they disappeared, and I couldn't get home, and all the buses had gone. All the buses had all gone. Now, Halifax is about 18 miles away. It didn't stop me from thinking, I'll tell you what, I'll just walk home. I mean, I might be a bit drunk, but how long can it take? I've walked home from Manchester a couple of times. And that would be took like 4 hours. So, might as well get a start. But coming out of the town, you just got to follow the road signs and stuff like that. I was just too tired. So I just laid down in the subway. And then I woke up and it was like freezing. But a bit more than a 3-mile walk. A long walk with a hangover is not too bad, actually, anyway. Oh, God. I hate people coming around and moving things around. That includes my nearest and dearest. I really get irrationally angry. Just trying to help, they say. No, you're meddling with my life, says the Greenwood. Yeah, but would it bother you if it was just a joke? If they did it deliberately, just to get a reaction, would that be worse or better than actually just trying to help? Footballer Pro says, name a football team for an edit and clout. What's the clout bit? Yeah, okay, right. I'm just trying to think of a football team. Right. I can't think of any. Can't remember any football teams. Leeds Wednesday. That one I'll do. That sounds scary, Germany. I could never fly. I ain't flying anymore, says Germany. I would have gone down with one of the stewards. Steve W says, the Greenwood, I get that way about my tools. I don't mind people borrowing them without asking. But if they don't put them back, 10-minute job turns into an hour. Oh yes. Now at work, my tools, nothing's that well organised anywhere. And often I'll use a load of tools and then I want to go home, so I'll just plonk them down on the floor in front of the car. And I'll sort that out tomorrow. But I don't want anybody else doing that. No. And if they do, it has to be all in one pile. Because once you let other people borrow your tools, they disappear. Even if they don't steal them or lose them, they just disappear because they don't put them in the same disorganized pile that you do yourself. Turned into a mermaid. I swear the plane was drifting or something. It would have done, yes. The thing with Air Canada, the pilots have mullets. So Germany, was the plane completely wrecked? That's what I want to know. If it was just a joke, says Greenwood, that's better. It's specifically one person who wants to try and chuck everything out and ends up moving everything into one room. But I don't like my things being chucked anyway. I don't want my thing. Oh, remember I blacked out. Yeah, so Greenwood, what you're... I don't think so, though. I can't see... Well, the thing is, the plane, even if it didn't end up smashed to bits, they're not going to be able to use it again. It's a bit like a crash helmet. If you crash your bike, you fall off your bike, you hit your head on the floor, your head's safe, but you're supposed to chuck your helmet away and get another one. The plane's not going to... Well, I mean, it couldn't... I suppose it couldn't really get that completely wrecked, not if you've got survivors, but I don't really think that they'd keep it. They'd have to dismantle the plane, surely. So there's another thing then. Things that go missing. Does anybody else have an issue anywhere, either at home or at work, where things properly go missing? And I get it all the time where you're looking for something, you can't find it. You do find it when you're not looking for it and you're looking for someone else. At this point, the job that you needed that for has gone away, so you don't need it now. I get that an awful lot. But did I tell you about the fish? The mysterious fish? I can't remember if I told you about this one or not. That is, in fact, even if I have done, I'm going to tell you again because it's so mysterious. I laughed so much when you said you lost an actual door at work once. Oh, well, yeah, I did. I did. You'd be surprised. I mean, I don't really mind that though either because that's just a door. I'm still annoyed by my top dome booster thing. That's big enough. That was about that long, and I've not seen that for about a month. But yeah, do you like Freddie and the Dreamers? I can't say as I do, particularly Steve. Yeah, right. So you see that fish there? Oh no, you don't, do you? Because the grey ones with the strap. So you put your finger there, they all end up going there. They're a bit like dogs, aren't they? Put your finger there, they all follow you around. The grey ones with a black stripe, usually knocking around the top here. There are how many? 7, I think, or is it 8? Maybe I need to actually know how many there are. But anyway, they're penguin tetras. And the first fish that we got were penguin tetras because we're told that they're reliable fish. They don't really go wrong. They don't break down, and they won't leave you stranded on the side of the A1. So get some of those because they'll see you right. So I did, and they were great. And a year later, 2 of them are still around. But I did buy some more. I bought some more, and they were tiny little diddy things, and they all hid in the corner just over there by the filter, where it's obviously a bit warmer because of the heater and everything. And then one day, one of them I found floating on the top. Oh yeah, there we go. There was obviously a bit stressed out by being in such a big tank. 2 months later, it come back. How that's possible? We had six of them, and then 5, and then 6 again. That is a bit difficult to explain, unless you just say, well, it's probably because you can't count. But the thing was floating and somewhat dead. And when you have a fish like that, you hike it out and you bung it in the food recycling, because you don't want to leave it in there because of the acid levels will change in the tank. So, anybody got any theories on that? Right. How often do people clean a tank like that? It should be once a week, Steve. My brother died on the crash, though, says Germany. You talk about the same plane. That's a terrible thing, that. Perhaps two were stuck together, says the Greenwood. Yes. How old was your brother, Germany? I don't know how these fishy things work. I certainly don't know how they work either. By that, they weren't two stuck together. It's just the strangest thing. Never really been able to figure it out. About 19. About 19. He was about 19, right. Okay, so he was 20, 18, 19. Presumably you know exactly how old he was, really. Right, okay, so I'm just about to finish this live stream. So if you all want to say good night to each other and etc., I'm going to go. I'm going to go and get something to eat, see if I can get a little bit of video editing done, and then I'll hopefully be able to join. I know it's 19. More supernatural stories tomorrow. Yes, why don't we? Why don't we? Why don't I think of something that we can all really get our teeth into? Very good evening. All right, Andrew Buttigieg's just got in. Time to go. Well, thank you for not joining us. Anyway, thank you very much to everyone who's joined in tonight. Thank you especially for anyone who's commented. Thank you for anyone who's done a like on the live stream. Only 22 of you so far, but it's better than none. So thanks a lot. And a special thank you to the Greenwood for being my moderator. Your work's got much easier recently, hasn't it? Okay, good night. See you later. Thank you very much.